Good evening. This is Reverend Natalie Jean, and we're back with you with the Emma Curtis Hopkins movement. So today I wanted to talk about the aspects of commercial and being. These are two things that I wanted to talk about, and something that I heard on the radio. I also want to talk about love. So three topics here. First, let's talk about commercials. I was watching a commercial for a product that was supposed to heal the person of something. And after they talk about the product, they tell you all the side effects of the product. One of the things was that it could cause a person to want to kill them. They have suicidal thoughts. It's going to bring them to depression. And I started to think about, why would you even do a commercial on this? Why would you even put a product out like this that may cause certain things? May cause it. Now, you could take the medication and deny the very existence of the symptoms that it may have on your health, on your body. But I often listen and see these commercials and wonder who takes these medicines, these medications, because they're already putting it out there that this thing can cause this. And it's totally and utterly ridiculous. It's like, okay, I'm not taking that. Well, I prefer not to take anything myself, but it always boggles the mind. And then I wanted to talk on the subject about being, just being, and the aspect of not thinking and being. As human beings, we are taught to think. Think, think, think. That's all we do. We go to school, we have to think. We work, we have to think. We walk, we have to think. But in spirituality, specifically in Emma Curtis Hopkins' teachings, that what she teaches is that Jesus he didn't think about anything. He didn't think about one thing. His thought processes were only of God. He didn't worry about anything. He had nothing to worry about, even though he was faced with error and illusion all the time. People slamming him because he's just speaking the word of God, talking about loving one another, slamming him. He was just being who he needed to be. He was being as God created him to be. So in our daily lives, we have to get to a point where we are just who we are, that we are being who God created us. God never made a mistake. We can look at the world and we can see the atrocities that some people have done, but these people were meant to be in this world for some reason. They were to show us something. We don't know if these people that have done these things, some kind of karma was on them. I don't know. But in essence, there is a God in each individual that walks this earth. Now, there are many tragedies that we see every single day on the news, the internet, wherever. And we have to hold a certain truth. We create these individuals, these murderers, these terrorists, these people, because we have created a word to describe something that is on earth. Now, if we had never described these things, as Emma has told us in Bible Interpretation 16th series, we would never have a murderer. We would never have a molester. We would never have liars. We would never have stubborn people. We would never have people that steal. We would never have any of these things. But we as human beings have created them because we have given them a name. And we talk about them on a daily basis. I was listening to a radio show the other day. And one of the things, the woman has a charity that helps people with cancer. And one of the things they say, the statistics was that X amount of people, 90,000 women were going to get cancer. This is what they were putting out in the universe. And I just started to I was thinking about what goes into the mind of a person to project that kind of energy out into the universe. They are the ones that are creating this aspect that, there are going to be 90,000 women that are going to have this thing. And I had to start saying, deny, 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 cancel, cancel, cancel. This is not the truth of this universe. The truth of this universe is that there's good for us and we ought to have it. That we are annihilating this word that was ever created called cancer. That all we should know is healing. All we should know is this aspect of healing and truth and speaking the truth and moving with this truth at each and every given moment. But to project that out into the universe, to say that X amount of people are going to have something, meaning that that is going to happen. Unless every time we hear somebody say something like that, we start the treatment work right then and there. We know that God works through us, as us, and for us at each and every given moment. So that if we have this power within us, we can annihilate every single thought, negative thought that comes around this universe, and affirm the truth that there are no diseases, errors, or illusions in this universe, that there is only good, there is perfect health, there is wholeness, whole, perfect, and completeness. That is what we need to affirm and speak of at every single given moment. The other topic I wanted to talk about, love. Again, I was listening to the same radio station, but this time there's a point where they have people call in, and people can call in if they want to, and they talk about who they love, and they want you to, people call in because they want you to play a specific song for their fiance, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, wife. And so this guy called in, and he was talking about how he met his soon-to-be wife, his fiance. And the story was such that he is a taxi driver, and he was like his last shift. And so he was ready to close up shop. He was tired. He didn't want to. But they called him to pick up this young lady. And so, it was resistant, but he said, okay, this is going to be my last job for tonight. And so when the lady got into the car, they each looked at each other, and this is how he told it. They each looked at each other in the eyes, and they just knew that that person was the one. And from that point on, they were together for the rest of their lives, and they ended up having, I believe, 2 children during that process, and now they are getting married. And he said it was basically love at first sight. And he always thinks back about it. If he hadn't decided to listen to his intuitive self, he didn't use the word intuitive, I'm using that, to say, okay, I'll take this last call, he would have never met her. Or maybe he would have met her in another existence or some other place. But that was the moment for them to meet. And I bring this topic out because, in today's society, I think we think too much about when we meet somebody, should we do this? Should we do that? Sometimes when we meet somebody, especially if we meet our soulmate, our twin flame, there is an instant connection. There is an energy. There is something there that you cannot even explain. It's almost like you've known this person for years. It's almost like this person is your twin. And so the debate is sometimes, people rush into things because they just know. And sometimes you may be surrounded by people that tell you, gosh, you just met this person. How can you do this? How you can do that? But you have to go with your gut feeling. Sometimes people will say, well, you need to get to know the person. You don't know if the person's an axe murderer. You don't know if the person has done this. Now, to counter that, there are people that have been married to people for years, 20, 25 years, and then never knew that they were a mass murderer killer. They just never knew. Because the way the person presented himself to that person for years, loving husband, doting father, never knew. So it really doesn't matter in that sense. As that if you feel it, you should go for it. And I bring this topic up because I'm talking about being. I'm talking about you can't think of every single moment. Sometimes you just have to act. You have to go with what you're feeling. You have to know that this is something that has been brought by God. Sometimes you can ask God, God, give me a sign. I feel that this person is right for me, but give me a sign to say that I am right in what I am thinking. Sometimes it's an energy thing. You'll just feel it. So sometimes when you meet somebody, you'll question about what the next move will be. Sometimes the question is whether you're going to be intimate with that person. And one of the things is, I don't think that people on this earth should be shy. If you're feeling something, you're an adult, and that energy is so great, you do it whenever you want to. But people tend to want to think about, oh my gosh, what will somebody else think? Or you may meet somebody on the first date, and 3 days later, go and to Las Vegas and marry them. But there's a reason that you do that. It's not that you're rushing so fast to because you want to get married, but your heart skips a beat. You're like, oh my God, I can't imagine my life without this person. Why wait? And a lot of times we wait, we want to go through the counseling, we want to do things like that. I'm trying to live a life where I'm spiritually minded, I understand my intuition, I listen to what God tells me, and I go for it. In the past, I used to be the type of person that used to think about this, think about that, think about it. I can't do that anymore because it impedes who I am as a spiritual being. It impedes my process with God and my understanding that I am one with God. And if I feel something, then I must go with it because I know that God is supplying me with all that I need. And He supplies me with everything that I need through love, through money, through a job, through music, through everything that I am doing. So God created us in wonderful, unique ways. We don't have to be the way somebody else wants us to be. Be happy with who you are, go for it, and make things happen. See you next time.